Welcome back. In recent years, you've heard more and more about burn pits and how they've affected our military members long term. We know that they cause lots of health issues.
Yeah, tonight we're going to learn more about that and where our local military veterans can get help. As we have a town hall to discuss burn pits and their impact. Joining us live now is Tim Jensen. He's the president of Grunt Style Foundation Board of Directors, also a veteran, a proud Marine.
Very much so.
Yeah. Thank you for being here and thank you for your service.
No, thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Talk about burn pits and why Grunt Style, you're one of the founders of Grunt Style, a great clothing line here in San Antonio, why you got as involved as you did.
Well, I think it's important to understand that, over the 20-year war, there was 3.5 million veterans in United States active military that have flowed in and out of those two countries, Iraq and Afghanistan, and plenty of other countries during the global war on terrorism. And, during that time period, we had an operational order that we had to burn our garbage and burn all of our footprint. And with that, we were exposed to a lot of different things, between batteries being burned in these big sites, Mosul, Basra, to the bigger areas. We had to get rid of that garbage. And with that came some exposures to things that, has caused cancer amongst our cohort. And a lot of my friends are dying. A lot of the people that we served with, a lot of the people that have gone over and did what the United States of America has asked them to do, and then to come home with some hidden wounds that 10 years later has taken them down and destroying a lot of these lives and these families. And I think that's something that we need to reconcile, and I think the Pact Act has done that.
We're going to get to the Pact Act in just a moment, but let's talk about how it actually affects people physically. So we know that right away you encounter some breathing issues, things like that, but down the line, we're talking cancer, other respiratory diseases, things like that.
Absolutely. So you're seeing brain cancers, you're seeing respiratory cancers, you're seeing reproductive cancers, stomach cancers, all sorts of different things that are coming from these inhalants. And it's not just burn pits in general. I mean, it's, there's all sorts of different types of chemicals. Permethrin, which was sprayed on a lot of our uniforms when we went overseas, is causing a lot of skin issues for individuals. So the thing I say to a lot of veterans out there is, if you are feeling that you've been overseas, you fought in the global war on terrorism, and there's some health issues that you're experiencing right now, go to your primary care provider. Make sure you're having these conversations with them. Talk to them. Let them know that you've been exposed, you've been overseas, that maybe get a heavy metal test or a blood test to see what's going on with your body. Have these conversations with your PCP, then take it to the VA and carry on those conversations.
I asked you this question when I first met you when you walked into the studio, and I said, how many people have been affected? Like, give us a percentage of how many people have been exposed to these burn pits.
It's a startling number. So 3.5 million veterans have come in and out of Afghanistan, 21 different countries, right? 100% of us have been exposed, right? And those are startling numbers.
Yeah. So let's.
And how many are affected by the health?
I would say, the numbers that are showing, anywhere between 25 and 30% are going to be having these monumental health issues. And that's a big number, right? We've seen this before with Agent Orange and all the other pesticides that are used during that conflict.
We're talking about millions of people.
Millions of people. And it is our job, right? We're not going to be the generation that, we watched our fathers and our fathers' brothers and sisters being exposed from this in Vietnam. We're not going to be that generation. And that's where I think we stood up collectively and we said, no more. And we brought a lot of pressure to our government.
Let's talk about that and the Pact Act and what it does, because if people are watching this and maybe they've had symptoms, veterans, and they're thinking, okay, what do I do next? The Pact Act basically ensures that they will get that medical coverage, right?
Yes, ma'am. So what we've seen over the time has been 80% of people that are going to the VA trying to get some sort of attention for their health care from the global war on terrorism are being denied. That was prior to the Pact Act. Now that we have this thing in legislative law, we're starting to see a lot of movement, right? We're seeing December 8th, they rolled out some new programs. We see just January 1st, 2023, new programs, and the benefits part of it is going to start kicking in. We're seeing that the VA is being a little bit more descriptive on some of the cancers that have been identified as the presumptions. So reproductive cancers are now being listed as breast cancer, prostate cancer, testicular cancer. A lot of these things are coming up to the surface from these deployments.
Isn't the most frustrating thing that it's hard to make that link before the Pact Act, right? Veterans had to prove. But how do you do that? I mean, what if there's family history or what, you just don't know how people are affected.
And that's the challenge, right? There's a couple things that we as military members understand. Like, we are in control of our service record book. In the Marine Corps, it's called our SRB. In the Army, Navy, Air Force, they all have different acronyms for it. But we are in control of that. What we are not in control of is our medical records, because those go off to Kansas City. We never get to see those again. And trying to arbitrate on our own behalf, because we have to negotiate for ourselves when we go to the VA. That's hard to do when you don't have the access to your records, right? In the military, as great and as efficient as it is, they don't keep really good medical records, and that's a challenge. And I think what the Pact Act has given the ability for the American veteran is, we say, if you're in these areas and you can prove that through your DD-214, then you are presumed to be exposed, which takes a lot of that burden away from that veteran, and they don't have to go out and try to prove their own case anymore. And they're able to walk right in and get the health care that they need.
So 7 o'clock, I want to talk to our viewers about what we're doing. 7 o'clock online, we are going to bring more light to the Pact Act and the people that may be suffering out there. And if you have any suspicion that you may be suffering, we're going to tell you how you can work your way through the system. I think it's appropriate on the eve of Veterans Day that we're reaching out and trying to help as many veterans as we can. It's on KSAT.com. Even if you know veterans who don't live in the San Antonio area, they can go to KSAT.com. They can go to the KSAT YouTube page. They can go to KSAT Plus and get the information that will not only help them start the process, but also hopefully work our way through it. And Tim's going to be my partner in all of this, because I'm not a veteran. I don't have these kind of experiences. So I appreciate you stepping up, and Grunt Style stepping up, and all the people who are going to help us with this live stream at 7.
Fantastic. I look forward to it, Steve.
Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Keep up to date with all of San Antonio's top news, weather, and so much more by clicking the like and subscribe buttons below. And once again, thanks for watching KSAT.